Well, that was the sound of pro-democracy activists clashing with police in Hong Kong in the last few hours. Protesters carrying umbrellas, the symbols of their movement, fought police armed with pepper spray and batons as they tried to surround the government's headquarters. The protests were stepped up after police began demolishing one of several camps occupied by the activists during 2 months of demonstrations. Protesters want Hong Kong people to be allowed to choose their leaders without interference from Beijing. The Chinese government has said it will allow universal suffrage for the region's elections in 2017, but will screen candidates in advance. A short while ago, I spoke to Tom Grundy, a journalist based in Hong Kong.
Well, a couple of days ago, student leaders invited protesters to reconvene at the main occupied camp. It was then revealed by student leader Oscar Lai that protesters would surround government headquarters to paralyse its operations till demands for political reform were met. Protesters demanding full universal suffrage from Beijing. It was then that a key thoroughfare to the rear of government headquarters was repeatedly invaded by protesters, bringing traffic to a halt overnight in some quite violent scenes. Protesters are wearing protective goggles and helmets, dragging metal barricades into this key underpass and tunnel. Around 7,000 police were deployed overnight, 4,000 of them around the main government headquarters. And there have been at least 45 arrests. Pepper spray batons were deployed. I noted dog units and for the first time, and police tactical units also on hand, and witnessed multiple injuries on both the police and protester side.
What sort of injuries?
A couple of head injuries, but it seems that things have escalated somewhat, a change of tone, as I did also note protesters making quite a deliberate and proactive effort to push police front lines. They responded with pepper spray and batons. So there was the inevitable injuries you're seeing there, and there were many makeshift first aid areas which were set up around the main occupied camp.
What's the situation now? Has things calmed down at all? Any sort of truce?
The government has said that civil servants working at the main headquarters need not go into work today. And actually, as day has broken, things seem to have escalated further, with key pedestrian entrances blocked to the main legislature and government buildings.
Where does this leave the broader arguments of both sides and the state of this political confrontation, do you think?
It seems that last night was a result of a deadlock within the movement in deciding what to do next, whether to escalate, and this debate that has been going on for a few weeks, particularly after the other occupied camp in Kowloon was cleared. There's also deadlock between the students and the government, who a couple of weeks ago made it very clear that there is no more room for dialogue. An attempt by the student leaders to head up to Beijing to discuss with the leadership there directly failed. They returned back at the border. But with public support waning, at least for the occupations, it's unclear how Hong Kongers will react when they wake up to these pictures.
That was journalist Tom Grundy there talking to me from Hong Kong a short while ago. Swiss voters have rejected plans